you're looking to drive growth for your SaaS business, then you need to build a go-to-market plan. If you want to stand a chance at actually executing on that plan and actually delivering results, then you need to follow a proper go-to-market planning process. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through my 3-step process on building a go-to-market plan. And when you follow this process, at the end of it, you're going to have clarity on exactly how you're going to drive growth. You're going to understand what you need to do, and you're going to be able to accelerate your path to the next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. For every single SaaS business that I've run, I followed a very specific go-to-market planning process. This was when we were at 0 revenues. This is when we scaled to millions of dollars of revenues. This is when I sold a company and joined the executive team of a 450 million ARR company. In all of those stages, I learned how to run a proper go-to-market planning process. And in this episode, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. So if you're excited to dig into step number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's dig right into it. All right, so step number 1 in this go-to-market planning process is to establish the numbers. A lot of times people just start with the revenue target. So let's just say you want to generate $10 million in the coming year. Well, $10 million can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. They can get turned off by it. Maybe it's a whole new number that you're trying to hit that you've never hit before. So it can be really daunting. So what I've found is during this go-to-market planning process, it's always good to break it down into the number of customers and the number of opportunities. So let's break this down. Out of that $10 million, let's just say our average deal size is 100K. Well, if you divide the 10 million by 100K, that means you need 100 new customers. This is very, very empowering because all of a sudden you're not thinking about some big revenue number. You're saying, look, all we really need to do is get 100 new customers. Then you can take it a step further. Let's just say you have a 20% win rate in your sales process. Well, in that case, you divide that 100 by 20%, which means that you need 500 opportunities. This already starts to get the gears turning on where are we going to get 100 new customers? And in order to get those 100 new customers, where are we going to get these 500 new opportunities? Now you can start to think about, all right, do we do outbound? Do we hire an SDR team? Do we do inbound? Do we spend more on marketing? It starts to really clarify exactly what we need to do for this go-to-market plan. One of the biggest things I've found from the early stages to upwards of 110 million in ARR with the teams that I've worked with inside of my go-to-market coaching program, a lot of times people don't really do the number. They have big revenue goals, but they don't really break it down into, well, how many customers is that? And how many opportunities do we need? And where are we going to get those opportunities? This also begs the question of, are we going to get this many opportunities with our SDR team? Or are we going to get it through our marketing team? Or if it's just the founder and they're just trying to get $1 million of ARR, well, is the founder going to drive enough pipeline and enough activities with the channels they're working on to do this on their own? So this is step number 1, because what it does is it aligns everyone around the table between the founder, the co-founder, and anyone else that's involved. Now, you could be part of a mature organization where you have a VP of marketing and a VP of sales. Well, then you're going to look at each of these people and say, all right, who's going to own which part of this pipeline number? You could just be a founder trying to get your first $1 million in ARR. Then you can look at yourself or your co-founder and say, all right, are we going to drive enough awareness in the market to get into this many opportunities? So step number 1 is to really do the math and establish your revenue target and break it down in the number of customers you're going to get and the number of opportunities you need to be working to stand a chance at hitting that number. Once you do that, then comes step number 2. A lot of times, this is the part where teams jump into, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and they come out with a wish list that they never look at again. There have been so many cases, so many companies that I've advised where I've asked, like, hey, have you done a go-to-market planning process before? So like, yeah, we did that. I'm like, cool. Well, how'd you track to that? What did you actually make a plan around? How did you do against that? A lot of times what happens is they get into a room, they make all these plans, they make this to-do list, and then the next day everyone goes back to their normal jobs and people forget about everything they were supposed to do. It's super important as step number 2 to actually ask yourself, hey, how are we going to go about doing this? And how do we even make this decision? So before you jump into saying what you're going to do, you should ask some high quality questions. So that's principle number 2, step number 2 in this process. Now, here's some examples of high quality questions that you should be asking yourself. And ideally, you should go in with this data before you even go into the meeting. So that way everyone kind of understands what the data says. Here are a few examples. The first one is, what are our current top 3 lead sources? So if you look at all the business that you've won and you look at the leads that got generated, what sources do you know in terms of where they came from that converted to the most revenue? The top lead sources would give you a clue into what you should stop doing and what you should double down on, instead of just continuing to do everything and not really realizing what's working and what's not. The second question that you can ask is, what are the top 3 loss codes? One of the things I always advise teams to do is every time you lose a deal, you move it to the closed lost column, you do 2 things. 1, you write down why you lost the deal, or at least the best guess. You could lose it to a competitor. They could say you didn't have a certain feature, or they just ghosted you. They said this is not urgent or important. The other thing I would say is you should always remarket to those people, because just because they're not buying right now doesn't mean they're not going to buy from you in the future. Maybe they just weren't ready. The really important reason to do this is at this go-to-market planning meeting, you can look at what are the top 3 reasons we lose deals, your loss codes, and can give you a lot of insight on what's going on in the market and your sales and marketing machine. The third thing you should look at is, what are the top 3 attributes that we should add to our ICP? A lot of companies have a wish list, which is their ICP. Like, we really want to work with these companies. They haven't really gone through a proper ICP exercise. When you go through a proper ICP exercise, you start to get a deeper understanding of what are the attributes that make for a successful customer. So this is a great way to start that conversation by asking, out of all the customers that we want, if we took the best customers, the best deals, and we're like, we want 50 more of these type of customers, what are the top 3 ICP attributes? And this is something you can feed back into your ICP process to really, really mobilize it in your go-to-market plan. And the last thing that you could look at is, what are the top 3 objections? This is a little bit more nuanced. This is where you really want to get the people that are talking to the customers or losing the deals and winning the deals to really chime in. You want to find out, what are the top 3 objections that we hear? Is it a competitor? Is it a certain feature? Is it a lack of certain credibility or trust? Is it price? So you can start to understand why you're losing deals beyond the loss codes. Objections are subtle. Objections are the things where customers might say, but they might still buy, but you know it was really something that you had to overcome in the sales process. Other times, objections are the things that they say and therefore they don't buy. So it can come in different ways. Understanding what are the top 3 objections right now in the market will help you forge your go-to-market plan. The reason this is so powerful, and there's so many more questions you can ask, is by asking these higher quality questions, instead of just making a bunch of plans and making a bunch of decisions, you're coming into it with data, and you're really asking, what do we know about the business? What are we learning from our customers that we need to incorporate and account for in our go-to-market plan? That's step number 2. I have a step number 3, and I have a bonus one. But before I go into that, let me pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? This is actually pretty simple. It's a pretty simple process, but simple is not always easy. It does take some discipline. It does take some focus to really do this go-to-market planning process in the right way. However, for every single company that I've been part of where we've done this, for every single founder that I've coached and they've taken their go-to-market planning seriously, they've always outpaced the competition. The reason is they're going in with a go-to-market plan that, 1, is thought through, is backed with data, is actually aligned across the team, but also to actually execute on. So it's super powerful when you follow this process. By the way, if you're starting to see the power on this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? If you have any questions about this process and what I've shared and what I'm about to share with you, just put it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer as well. Also, if you're getting value from this, be sure to smash that like button. It just loves it when you do that. And honestly, so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you're in this stage where you're building out your go-to-market plan, you're looking to build a scalable go-to-market machine, if you're struggling with growth, this is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Let's go to step number 3 of this process, and I'm going to share the bonus one. So step number 3 is the massive action plan. Now that you know how many customers you need, how many opportunities that you need, now that you're starting to understand what the chessboard looks like, where do we win, where do we lose, where are the leads coming from that actually convert, why are we losing, what are the competitive dynamics, now you can start to make an actual action plan. Now here's the thing, this is another place where a lot of founders and a lot of leaders go wrong. A lot of times they'll build out this go-to-market plan and they'll come out, everyone will just come out with a laundry list of things they're going to do. Problem is, you'll only have a certain amount of bandwidth. A lot of times founders will ask me, hey TK, we're starting to scale. We have 3 ICPs we want to go after. Can we go after all 3? And my answer is always yes, if you have enough bandwidth, you have enough of a team, you have enough budget to go after all 3 ICPs. Otherwise, you should pick the highest promising one. A key component of this planning process, a key component of creating a proper go-to-market plan is an actual strategy. And strategy is a fancy word, but really it breaks down into one simple thing. It's making choices. The more choices you make, the better the choices you make, the more successful you're going to be. So the biggest thing you really want to do is not just create more things you're all going to do, because let's be honest, you're probably not going to do it. You're probably not going to do it very well. So what I always say is you should create a massive action plan, but you should break it down into 3 buckets. The first bucket is, what are the things we're going to stop doing? So let's just say you're waking up every morning and you're posting on X every single morning, but it doesn't show up in your top 3 lead sources. Well, maybe you should stop doing that and stop wasting time on that. Suppose you're sending out 17,000 outbound emails and it has a very low yield rate. Well, maybe you should stop doing that. This starts to get you thinking about, what do I stop doing that's not yielding results, so that way I can open up some bandwidth, either for myself or for the rest of my team. Let's just say you hired a fractional CMO and they have not delivered on anything. Well, you should probably fire that person, which actually honestly is probably the case. That should be a given thing anyway, because they don't really do anything because they can't get real CMO jobs in the first place or have never had one. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The second thing you should be doing is you should figure out what you should continue doing. This is the second bucket on the list. There's a set of things that are working. Maybe it's your top 3 lead sources. You're like, you know what? We should continue doing that. In fact, we should double down on that because that's working so well. Maybe you're posting on LinkedIn, or the whole team's posting on LinkedIn. Maybe you're running a lead magnet on LinkedIn. Well, you should probably double down on that if it's part of your top 3 lead sources. So the second bucket is, what do we continue doing? And finally, the third bucket is, what do we need to start doing? There's probably a set of things that you're not doing that is supposed to be the thing you should be doing. In that case, that goes under the start bucket. Common things I see under the start bucket is, hey, we should do a proper ICP exercise, or we should revamp our messaging so that we're overcoming the objections we're seeing in the sales process, or we should actually turn on real marketing instead of just relying on our existing network or just the outbound team, because the more marketing we do, the more it compounds and the more opportunities we're going to get. These are just some examples that you can add to the start bucket. So step number 3 is create a massive action list, but make sure you subtract, not just add, because that way your team will go out with a concrete set of things that they can stop doing so they gain more time, and a concrete set of things they can continue doing and double down on, and a concrete set of things that they should start doing so you can start to hit the bigger numbers that you're going after. Those are the 3 steps, and I promised you a bonus one. The bonus one is just as simple but harder to do. The bonus is you should operationalize this. So what does that mean? That means is you should actually have a working document. As you do this go-to-market planning process, you should have a proper working document shared with the team, so you document everything. What you should also do is set up the metrics you're gonna track for your go-to-market machine, so you know whether it's working or not. And the third thing you should do is you should iterate. Iteration is the thing that drives success for every single company I've worked with. They come in, they create a plan, they put in the metrics, they start executing, they look at the metrics on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and they keep iterating. So this planning process, this go-to-market planning process should not be a one-time thing. It should most certainly not be a once-in-a-year thing. It should be a routine thing. You should track your metrics weekly. You should check it monthly, and you should definitely get together and revamp your plan every quarter. You do that, you're gonna be able to get better and better and better and better and better, and that's how you'll be able to scale. All right, so let's recap. Step number 1 in this is you wanna flesh out your revenue target. Don't just put the dollar number, divide it by your ACV. That'll get you the number of customers you need, and divided by your win rate, that'll give you the number of opportunities you need. Number 2, ask the high quality questions. Where do our top leads come from? What are our top 3 lead sources? Why do we lose deals? What are the top 3 ICP attributes going into our ICP process for our best customers that we want 50 more of? And what are the top 3 objections we keep hearing on sales calls that we have to work to overcome? All of these things will help you create a better plan that you want to solve for. And then finally, create your massive action list. Don't just create net new things. Figure out what are the things we're going to stop doing, what are the things we're going to continue doing and double down on, and what are the things we're going to start doing. And typically with starting, you want to figure out, how do we feed this into our ICP process? How do we revamp our messaging? And how do we get our Broadway show, our marketing, and our sales motions so that we actually hit these numbers? And the bonus thing, write it all down in a working doc, share it with everybody, track these metrics weekly, monthly, quarterly, and iterate every quarter so that you get better and better and better and better and better. Now you know my 3 plus the bonus step process for doing your go-to-market plan. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I run this process? How do I align my team? You might be wondering, how do we actually build out this go-to-market strategy from our ICP to our messaging to our sales and marketing motions so we can go after some of these big numbers we're going after? This is exactly why I created my SaaS go-to-market program. Inside of this program, I work with you to go from your current go-to-market strategy to a well-defined and scalable go-to-market strategy that you, your co-founder, and your team, and anyone else involved can actually execute on. It's an incredible program. So if you'd like to work together, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. On that page, this is what that page looks like. You'll get all of the details about the program. The better the fit, the better the results. So if it sounds like you want to work together, just book a time, answer the few questions on that page, and on the call where I'll personally meet with you, we'll review exactly where you are, what your goals are, and if it sounds like a fit, we'll be off to the races right away. And inside of the program, I'll work with you to build out your go-to-market plan and start executing on it. It's an incredible program. It's my 6th year running the program. We've shared so many success stories of founders that have gone through the program, and I would love to work with you. So just go to tkkader.com/GTM. Also, if you got value from this video, which hopefully you did, if you're still watching, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. You'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you inside the SaaS Go-to-Market program. Take care, everybody. All right, let's do the thing.